GPS speed.
Hello. Hi, I'm James Sopater, and I'm here to talk today about a problem we have. Now, how many of you have sped before? Come on, hands up.
Never.
Good, right?
I've never sped.
Everyone has sped here. And you might think it's not much of a problem, right? You just want to get somewhere a bit more faster. You want to feel in control of yourself, in control of the time it takes you to get there. But in fact, when you speed, you lose control. We can see studies show that up to a third of all fatal crashes are caused by speeding in BC and worldwide. It is a big problem that we see every day. We see crashes and constant crashes from people speeding, thinking that, oh, I just want to get somewhere a bit faster. Light turns red, someone ahead of them slams on their brakes, and they just crash right into them. It's a big issue. But how do we solve this? Because, of course, as I said, you want to feel more in control, even though you're the one losing control here. Oh. Introducing GP Speed, a GPS-based speed limiting device. So the basics of the system are, not going? Okay. Anyway, so the basic of the system is that it will dynamically limit the top speed of a vehicle based on the GPS data for the given area of the road section. So what it does is it will contact the GPS, it will communicate the information to the engine computer, and the engine computer then verifies that between the speedometer in the system and the GPS data. If the car is speeding, it's then going to dynamically close the throttle valve, limiting airflow to the engine, which will dynamically slow the car down. Oh, there we go.
Oh, it works.
So essentially, we take the information from the speedometer, we compare it to the GPS system, compare it within the engine computer, and then we send the signal to the engine, to the throttle valve, where it will then dynamically limit the airflow to limit the speed of the car.
I just have to say, wow. I've never seen a demo like that, James. It's amazing.
So now let's talk about speed limiters worldwide, because as I said, everyone wants to keep in control of their vehicle. They don't want to feel like they're being limited by anything. But we've already seen laws starting to come around with speed limiters. The UK requires speed limiters on all vehicles. The EU wants to implement GPS-based solutions even by 2021. And even here in Canada, on transport vehicles in Ontario, you're required to have a speed limiter set to 105 kilometers an hour. Now, what do we see from this? Well, we see a decrease in crash statistics and fatalities especially. The UK, having twice the population, has half the crashes and fatalities compared to us. We can see that with speeding being a leading cause, reducing the speeding toll has definitely been drastic for them. In addition, we hope to see speed limiters on all vehicles as it will help reduce carbon emissions from vehicles. A study from the Government of Canada has found that it will reduce CO2 equivalent emissions by up to 600,000 tons per year per vehicle with the speed limiter. We're also hoping to innovate industry and infrastructure by implementing speed limiters on transport vehicles and other transport industries, which will lower liabilities of truck drivers and others in these industries. Now this brings us to our market. So earlier I was talking about how speeding is a big cause of crashes. It is most prevalent among teens. In fact, among teens, it's up to 50% of all fatal crashes is caused by speeding. So we want to aggressively appeal to parents' emotion on this. When you have a child who is just getting their N and just going free on the road, they might be speeding right out of the lot once they have the license. But we want to be able to make sure parents can feel safe with their kids in the car. We want to target them and say that you need this to make sure your kids will be safe, they cannot speed with this, and then they're much lower risk of going into a crash. After this, we hope to target businesses, especially car rental and truck fleets. So car rental services, this will lower the liability on their individual vehicles, as the people who rent the vehicles can no longer speed within the vehicle, as well as truck fleets, as this will lower the liability on any transport delivery trucks, and it will delay the inevitable automation within the sector by making humans less liable in the situation. So our initial ask for this would be $10,000 to finish our prototyping. We've already began on a physical prototype, which can dynamically control a throttle valve within a vehicle. However, we are moving into seeing more software-based solutions for more modern vehicles. Because you go into a modern Ford, it has a complete computer system within the car and its own built-in GPS. So we want to be able to work with that and not just the older systems where we'd have to rely on the throttle valve. After that, we'd like $100,000 to go into initial manufacturing and trying to get this out into the world. Expenses per unit are about $110 per unit in our current phase with the physical model. Most of that is going to the processing unit, which we see as a big area where we could drastically cut down on the expense. So doing some market research, we have found that among parents in the local communities, among the local high schools, we could find about 200 sales within our first year of this unit of trying to make sure kids remain safer. And we see about a steady linear growth from there as the word spreads around, as we prove that these vehicles are safer. And going off of our profit projections from there, just based off linear growth, simple as that, $200 per unit, we see ourselves being profitable in about year 4. Okay, any questions? Anything on the rubrics I might have missed? Anything you're curious about?
Happy to answer.
Well done, guys. Well done. That was fantastic.
Yeah, so just to start with some feedback, the way you targeted your market was awesome. You were like, we're going to start with consumers, we're going to solve that problem, and we're going to go to car rentals, we'll solve that. That was really good. It's smart to segment your market and focus on those problem sets. So that was great. On the product development side, you know, there's a great variety of cars out in the road, from, you know, cable throttles to ECUs, which now control most vehicles. Have you thought about just kind of focusing on one kind of solution, or are you looking to like figure out how to install this thing on like a bunch of varieties?
Yeah, that's a big question. So essentially, right now, our current prototype works specifically on cable throttles and the more drive-by-wire old school. But we are working on the software solution, which we hope to then work with various car manufacturers to make sure we can get into their software so we can work on their specific vehicles.
Are you looking at outsourcing manufacturing and distribution? So you just be like the manufacturer, or what parts are you going to control versus others?
Yeah, we're looking at having our own website where we can sell through there directly, and then we're looking at outsourcing to local mechanics or car enthusiasts who have their own like auto body shops or whatever, and then we can sell to them and say, okay, maybe try suggesting this to your clients who are your regulars, and go from there. Thanks.
I have a question. This is a space I'm completely ignorant in, but you mentioned other particular countries. I think you mentioned UK and one others that do have speed limiters.
Yeah.
How is your prototype different than what already exists in the market?
So this is a great question. Did you want to cover it, Eric?
But sure. So the difference between the existing speed limiters, our main competition, and our product is that our speed limiter's speed limit is dynamic as opposed to passive. What this means is our speed limiter automatically adjusts the maximum speed of the vehicle in accordance to the local traffic regulations. So if you're in a 60 zone, your limit is 60. If you're in a 50 zone, that's 50. On the highway, it's going to be 120.
Yeah, it essentially make sure that you won't be going 60 down the Coquihalla in the middle of winter.
Great, thank you.
Prototype?
Yeah. So our current prototype involves, it's very basic, but it's a Raspberry Pi control unit, and we have a physical throttle valve that we've been using to open and close dynamically limit airflow, and we're working on this with a test engine.
And where are you doing this prototyping?
So I have worked in the UBCO lab a bit with this, with Dr. Najran up there. He gave me a bit of beginning insight into it. I have also been working on this on my own with Eric and many others, and we're trying to get as much mentorship as we can in this field, as it is a very complicated system.
The engineering sounds significant in the programming to have control combustion, which is what you're talking about, to limit speed.
Yeah.
And so you have something right now that's actually...
Yeah, so we have...
How accurate is it at the moment?
Right now, it's not very accurate. We have an out-of-body prototype, so we're not really even putting it in the car much.
Yeah.
We're taking it out of car, and we're just seeing how much we can regulate airflow. If we plug in different test data, how much is going to kill the fire in the engine, essentially, right? Yeah.
Thanks.
Christina, question?
Yeah, you mentioned that you would be selling on the website, but I take this wouldn't be something that if I wanted to put in my car for my kids, I could plug in. So what's sort of your workaround with that and installation?
So yeah, it wouldn't necessarily be plug and play, but we would try and provide some resources for any car enthusiasts to be able to install it on their own. And then we'd be trying to get local mechanics who we could direct you to off of our website that could install it and would be certified to install it.
Have you looked into, with the insurance industry, having something like this?
Actually, yes, that's a very good point, because a lot of insurance companies will give discounts to big truck fleets that already install speed limiters on their vehicles. So this adds to part of our marketing to businesses, as it will be financially beneficial for them in the long run to install these in their vehicles. The main competitors, well, in one sense, we have competition within a lot of vehicle manufacturers themselves. Ford has a system for speed limiters already on some of their vehicles, which will sort of have a camera built into the side of the car, which will then see a road sign. And whenever if it can see the road sign, it then sets that as the top speed for the vehicle. So by using GPS data, we hope that will be a bit more accurate in case there's any obscured road signs. But that would definitely be one of our main competitors.
Another competitor that we have is automated driving. Because autonomous driving is developing itself at a very rapid pace. A lot of level 1 or 2 autonomous driving systems are already being integrated into the market. However, the North American industry is primarily used cars. Have a competitive advantage at specific market. Most people don't want to drop $30,000.
All right, guys. GPS speed. Well done, Shadowfire Studios.
Thank you.